It's teaser time.
Oh, Kelley, you got a little teaser bumper there. Nice.
How about that?
Let's do a little teaser talk before we get into specific games here. One, it's week one. Everybody slow down. Slow your roll. Don't go teaser crazy. Is that the proper initial
Yes,
PSA?
I think it is. Yes, I think
That's
it
the
is.
proper
As we talk about road favorites and a lot of the things, be careful with week one. It's the general tip, right, is there's a lot of craziness that happens week one. We don't know these teams as well as we think we do oftentimes.
Yep.
So essentially, what is a teaser? You are parlaying two teams. You're just getting points with it. So I don't know if I'd be going crazy with parlays, teasers, any of that kind of stuff week one, week two, until you really got a better feel of what these teams look like.
We often refer to Wong teasers on this show. We've done so for many, many years here on this show. I felt like we were the only ones who did it back in the day. Now everybody talks about Wong teasers. Stanford Wong is the pseudonym of a gentleman by the name of John Ferguson, who wrote a book on sports betting many, many years ago. And what he identified was the most plus EV teaser legs. Now, without getting too deep into it, a lot of this is total specific. But generally, what he's referring to, the three legs that have been the most plus EV through the years in the NFL, are those that can get you through key numbers in three instances. One, both home and road dogs of between 1.5 and 2.5. That way, when you tease those numbers, and we're talking about 6-point teasers here in general, that'll get you through the 3 and the 7 to 7.5 or 8.5. So home and road dogs of between 1.5 and 2.5 points tease upward through the 3 and the 7. And then the other one is home favorites of between 7.5 and 8.5 points that you can tease downwards through the 7 and the 3 to 2.5 or 1.5. It does not apply to road favorites of that number. That is not one of the plus EV legs. Now, I do want to, again, just buttress the caveat from before. In reality, these are total specific. So the reason that we don't talk about teasers, say, let's just take it to an extreme, in the NBA or in college football, is because intuitively, and you don't have to really know math, right? Intuitively, you realize, oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of volatile scoring in the NBA, and there's a whole bunch of volatile scoring in college football, much more so, although we didn't really see that this weekend, quite frankly, but much more so than there is in the National Football League. And so what that should tell you is, therefore, again, intuitively, that the value of each of those individual points is lessened. But in the NFL, when totals are down, the value of all of those points is magnified, and particularly when you put it through those key numbers, it becomes magnified on steroids. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. Kelley Bydlon, is that okay?
Oh, I think you explained it perfectly.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, if you bigger total, regardless of the sport, bigger total, that single point's going to mean less, right? So that's why we only talk about teasers. We don't even talk about them in college football because usually the totals are larger than the NFL.
Okay, so then with those two, with one explanation, the caveat at the beginning, the caveat that you shouldn't go too crazy on these in week one, because again, and by the way, don't take me literally on this when I say we don't know nothing, that we don't know a thing. What I'm trying to sort of provoke is, yeah, you might know a couple things, but there's inevitably going to be some team or teams that surprise the heck out of you, and you're going to realize, oh wow, I knew nothing about this specific thing. But here would be the Wong or Wongish, if you will, Wong adjacent, because I see one that does not qualify completely. But here are the ones that Kelley, poetic license, Kelley threw these out on the board.
Yep.
The Steelers as 2.5-point dogs against the Niners. Well, that would be a great home Wong teaser leg because you can tease that up through the 3 and the 7. That would be appealing to a lot. Now, the Commanders doesn't qualify exactly as one because that's right on the 7, so you wouldn't be going through both the 7 and the 3, but essentially you would be just teasing the Commanders to win this football game. And so that's why I would assume Kelley puts that on there.
Yeah.
Browns, 2.5-point home dogs against the Bengals. You can tease them up through the 3 and the 7 to 8.5. We're talking about 6-point teasers here. Also, I want to put the caveat in, as Bill Krackomberger has told us a million times, make sure the juice on these is correct.
Bill's never said that.
Never. Has he ever said that?
He's never said that on this show. Come on.
I'm going to get Crack here, see if he said that before. So let's ask. If they're minus 140, they're minus 150. No, stop playing them. Packers are 1.5-ish. Kelley puts ish in there.
Yeah, we're seeing mainly ones right now.
Yeah.
But, we'll see how this thing's been moving all week. I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit more Bears money comes back in and you get an option.
He's anticipating teaser.
Yeah.
Packers you could tease potentially through the 3 and the 7. Jordan Love and his opening day starting debut at the Bears. And then Monday Night Football. Boy, oh boy, on the heels of Hard Knocks, this begins the Jets' first 6 games of the season gauntlet. They're at home against the Bills. You may not want to take them straight. You may not want to take them on the money line, but you may want to tease them. You could tease them through the 3 and the 7 to 8.5. So, Kelley, the question then becomes, first of all, will you have a teaser in your account this weekend?
I think I will, but it's only going to be one, and it's not going to be big, and it's those top 2 on the board right there. I think it's Steelers, Commanders.
Yeah, so you're not going to – Steelers, Commanders.
Yeah.
All right, you jumped the gun on me. So, Steelers – I actually think you're right. I think the Steelers is the most appealing of all those legs because we can all remember in our mind's eye, no matter how mediocre your opinion is of the Steelers.
And mine's pretty mediocre. I have unders on the win total.
I mean, how many times on opening day, I feel like it's been multiple times where we're like, well, I don't know what the Steelers' offense looked like, but their defense and special teams won them this game, right? Steelers up through 8.5. I think I'd bite on that.
Yeah, and then, look, this is especially if we're talking the Stanford Wong teasers. It's a low total. We're talking 41 on the total, 40.5 and 41 on the total. Obviously that helps you out even more. And yeah, San Francisco's got what the quarterback offense right now is a little bit up in the air, a little bit more questionable than I would think it's going to be later in the season. So if you were going to go against them, I'd rather go against them now than when they are probably in form 6 weeks into the season. So yeah, I haven't made it yet, Gill, but yes, I think it will be a Steelers Commanders teaser for me. Just smaller ones.
There's a few interesting things to this. One, while I say that's the teaser leg I think I like the best, if I were to ask it a different way and say of those 5, talking about Steelers, Commodes, Browns, Packers, and Jets, which is the leg that scares you the most, that if I told you, oh, only one of these failed, would the answer also be Steelers and 49ers? Because I don't know.
For me, this is unfair because Burrow, I guess, is still up in the air. But if Burrow was playing,
assume that
if Burrow
for this conversation,
the Browns-Bengals one scares me the most.
That would scare you the most.
Yeah, even though it's a home division dog. I mean that's pretty attractive in situations like this. But no, I think that's the one I want nothing to do with.
Let's just make this clear. Also, like our buddy Matt Brown, who hosts shows here at VSiN, is Kelley's co-host at Long Shots, and will join us every Friday this year for not 1, not 2, but 3 segments to talk nothing but NFL with us. He loves, and I'm not saying he's doing this week 1, but as we get deeper into the season, he's a very aggressive feast or famine bettor. It works for him. He'll take one of these legs.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And he will match it with multiples.
Yep.
And that way, he's sort of not guaranteed, but he's likely to either have a very big weekend or crash and burn entirely. That ain't happening with you this week, right?
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah. And I'll do similar. I'll key in a couple teasers, usually around one team. It totally depends on the week in the game. You got to love that game for a teaser leg, and I'll oftentimes do that too. But you're right, Matt is at a much more extreme. You're going to see him tie in 4 or 5 different teasers into one team sometimes. You're going to see that when we talk on Fridays with him. But, yeah, I'm interested to see what he has this week teaser-wise. I'm guessing it's not going to be much like us.
He can rein himself back
in.
Yeah,
I think he'll rein himself back in.
We'll find out on Friday. If it were me, this also immediately jogs in your head. Okay, wait a minute now. It's the NFL season. Let me just get rearranged. You're going to have multiple things. A lot of us are going to have multiple things going on. So if I said the same thing you did, right, if I said Steelers Commanders, which sounds reasonable to me, the Cardinals in tank mode, if ever there was a must-win situation in week 1, this is it with the Commodes. They don't win this. Good really God. But as I say that, then I think to myself, okay, but then I got to my Survivor. I'm not going to use all of them on the Commanders. I'm only going to use probably 1, maybe 2 at the most. My real hope is that the Commanders crash and burn. So do I really want to teaser with them? All of that stuff starts to go through your head.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
That's what makes this time of year fun and just a complete sort of brain meld happening inside of your cranium.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.